Hello and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today we are with someone who has managed to top yet another national championship. This is Simon He.
Hey guys, nice to be back.
Simon, welcome back to the channel. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. I actually went on a massive scrubbing spree and finally able to top an event again, so that feels pretty nice.
But this is this your latest success since being YCS champion?
Yeah, like I went through like a series of bubbling on the last round.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and then I managed to go 9 wins and 2 losses, but not make it to the top cut. So
Yeah, that's always rough.
yeah.
But now, back in action. Tell the guys what you did this time.
Oh yeah, I got third at Hungarian Nationals. I played the Hungarian Nationals because the UK one sold out in 3 minutes online.
Yeah.
750 places sold out in 3 minutes. But even then, like this was a few weeks ago, of course, you know this. On the day of the Nationals that I played, and this is a week before UK Nationals, like within round 3, one of the judges showed me that they released 200 more places for the UK Nationals. So I'm just there thinking, well, that's a bit late.
Yeah,
But it's fine.
that's
Like
pretty crazy.
Budapest is like a really beautiful country, so it's okay.
Should we get everyone to go there next year?
I think we should go to like any Nationals that has like a beautiful place and that we've not been to before.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking of Copenhagen. Yeah, like I've been to Croatia, that's before. Yeah, like I wouldn't mind coming to Budapest again.
Okay. Well, I can't wait, to be honest, to see how beautiful Rotherham is. I'm just so geared up. Why don't you tell us about your deck then?
Oh, I just play Swordsoul because I think it's like one of the more consistent decks in the meta. And it doesn't really break, and I know it best. I didn't really have that much time to test. So, yeah. But before we begin, I have to like give a big thank you to some boys back at home. And you guys watching might not really recognize these names, but they helped me like before every single event. So I just have to say like a massive thank you to Ben Sherman, Callum Cook, Alfie Morton, Ian, I forgot his surname, Tom Lockett, Brad Hall, and Terrence. So yeah, let's do this. Got 3 Moye, so a lot of this is pretty standard. 2 Taye and 3 Longyuan and 3 Ecclesia.
Yep.
One thing about my list is I tried to make it 40, because I wanted to draw Ash more often, Desires more often, and then in game 2 and 3, if I'm against top decks, I want to draw the trap removal more often. And I also want to draw the oppressive stuff, like anti-spell and dim barrier more often.
Yep.
So I wanted to keep it as 40. It was really difficult making it 40. Originally I wanted to potentially cut one of these, or even 1 Taye.
Yeah, we've seen a few people drop 1 Taye, yeah.
I think it was okay in the previous format where Desires was at 1 and you played Hulk. But now, because Desires at 2, I think you still like. I tried it; it didn't work out. You needed the second Taye a lot of time, and Ecclesia is not great going first, but it's amazing going second. And then one of the reasons to play the deck is it has a really good going second matchup against most decks because of the 10 years, because of Ecclesia. So I can't really drop it down to 2 and then Taye to 1.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
For the 10 years, I have 3 Ahara. Some people play 2, but I think you need to play 3 because it's a 10 year and it's a tuner. Sometimes you use this with Longyuan a lot to make Yahtzee if you're under, or if you're trying to play around like token collector and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think 3 is optimal. 3 for shooter, my personal favorite card of like the past year. It's not like broken or anything, but it just solves so many problems.
Anytime you see it in your hand, you feel like it's gonna work.
Yeah, going second, especially.
Yeah.
Free Asuna. I didn't play Shatana because I think Shatana is like a brick most of the time when you draw it, and it's only good if, I mean, it's only okay when you draw it if you have like Vessel or Heavenly Circle with it.
Yeah.
And even though you can pair it with Circle to carry on playing through Veiler and Imperm, I don't think that play is like that great, and I'd rather just not draw Shatana. Against a lot of matchups, Shatana it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. It's literally like the biggest thing that it gives you is actually the surprise factor when people don't know its effect.
Oh, I think, yeah, maybe a couple of months ago, but not now. Like when.
Yeah, it's too late now.
Yeah, for sure. For the hand traps, 3 Ash, 2 Veiler, and 3 Imperm.
Mm-hmm.
These are all, because I play 40, I could like get away with just playing 8 instead of like 9 or 10 or more. Originally for YCS Hartford, I had DD Crow instead of this.
Yeah.
But I took them out. I really didn't respect the Despia matchup for this tournament because I was doing like really well against them in testing. But in hindsight, like DD Crow was part of that, and the only match I lost to this entire weekend was to a Despia player. And basically, without DD Crow, his branded in red just resolved like all the time. And I originally thought like just Imperm and Veiler just stopping like the Rebellion was enough, but it just wasn't. So in hindsight, like I should either take these back out for DD Crow or just add them in and make it 42.
Yep. We've seen a lot of people play Nib recently. Did you not feel like it was good
Nib,
enough?
especially in other decks, maybe, but especially in Swordsoul, it's really, really difficult to play Nib because you don't want to block yourself from the Tenyis. I considered siding it and playing Liner.
Yep.
And that was one of the flex spots for the extra deck. But the problem with that play is, so you're supposed to like Nibiru them on their first turn, and then put the token in tap mode, and then normal summon something and make Liner with the Nibiru attack into it. Liner searches Ecclesia, and then you special summon Ecclesia and you use Ecclesia, and then you go off that way. The problem is with that, you waste a normal summon, and then you also waste your battle phase. You get to play, but I don't know. I think that's like too much. Nibiru is all. I've never really liked Nibiru in this particular deck. 2 Desires, 3 Emergence. This is pretty standard. I went with 2 Vessel and 1 Heavenly Circle. So because I don't play any Shatana, I think like I didn't really need that much, like another copy of this. I did try 2 and 2, but the problem with that is sometimes I draw multiples of this or multiples of this, and I wanted to cut down that because it is really dead. It doesn't do anything once you have like multiples. Also, I didn't really rely on this card so much, but I wanted the versatility. I wanted it to still be in there as an option sometimes. And it has some like cool plays, like versatility plays with like Barksy and stuff like that. So it gives you more lines of plays in like a tough situation. And also, just in case like someone has Mystic Mind, so I'm not just drawing to just the blackout to outfit, I could have this as well. 2 Forbidden Chalice. This was for Forbidden Droplet, but I think I should actually go back to Droplet. The issue with Droplet for some decks is that they don't really have something to send. But also Tenyi is like, they have Monk out a lot that they can send, and they can send like the Tenyis, or they can even just send this and then this can activate in the graveyard as well next turn. So I don't think like Droplet is such a -1. The reason I played this is because of Token Collector, but Droplet can like accomplish that as well. This wasn't exactly that impactful for this tournament. The 1 Call by the Grave and the 1 Blackout. This is really standard. I don't really have to explain any of that.
Yeah, sure.
For the extra deck, like I think there's only one flex bot in the extra deck. Everything else is like really standard now. 2 Chi Shell, 3 10s. Ooh, there it is. 1 Yahtzee, 2 Baxia, 1 Berserker, 1 Chaofeng, Shaman, 3 Monk. Like some people cut one of these to 2, one of these to 2, but I don't think you can. Like it comes up fairly often. Like the problem is if you cut it to 2, you have to be very conservative with your monks. And sometimes to do that, you might have to play like suboptimally, which is just not ideal.
Yeah.
The flex spot I went with is Dragite.
Okay.
So I explained why like the options were Liner, Psychic End Punisher, and Dragite. I explained why Liner isn't really good. I tried Psychic End Punisher, and it is really good when Despia does like the double Masquerade board, and then you burn yourself. Well, you allow them to burn you, and then you make Psychic End Punisher, and they really can't out it.
Yeah.
But I find like to make Psychic End Punisher in other matchups, you can't like go off on that turn. Like it takes quite a lot to make it, and you have to like play through some of their stuff. So you're not really making any other plays apart from Psychic End Punisher that turn. And I think because you're mostly relying on the unaffected part, the unaffected by activated effects. So I find it's more like Mystic Mine. It's like a pseudo Mystic Mine. It stores for a couple of turns, but it doesn't really. It's rare that it ends games. So I went with Dragite because it's quite easy to make this turn 1 with like the 10 years and Vessel. Like it's quite easy to make this and Chi Shell with the 10 years and Vessel. And it's not just for Despia, it can be for like the trap decks as well.
Yeah. And for your turn 1 end board, were you doing the Kijing Longyuan with Chi Shao, or were you doing something else?
So, like, I never respected like Nibiru game 1 unless I know they're playing dragons. It's usually like this and Chi Shao.
Yep.
And Blackout set.
Yep.
It's sometimes like if you have Vessel and a really good hand, it's not that difficult to just end on these 3. If you get like Veiled on like a Moyi, but you still have like Asuna and Longyuan, you can end on where is it? You can end on Chi Shao, Chaofeng, and Blackout. So I mean, you normally always try to end on this because this is just so much better than ending on like Baron or Chengying. Like doing Chengying like turn 1 doesn't really do anything against most matchups.
Yeah.
Is this like even if you don't get the draw, you can. There's so many decks where it's beneficial for you to banish like field spells or Fateful, and in the mirror, it's really beneficial to banish their 10 years. Like if you just play if you like make Baron or Chengying, then just like 1 Vishuda is just gonna stop that.
Yeah.
But at least with this, you get to banish it.
Yeah.
Side deck have 3 Twin, 3 Dark Ruler. Dark Ruler for like ABC, Firion, like Punk Firion, or any like Punk decks. Pendulums if that comes up sometimes. Dragons. So I think this is like pretty necessary in the format right now. I went with the Gamma package because I think it's like really good against like the entirety of the meta that does some sort of combos. The general the general kind of thought in the community is that this is not good against Despia. But I still side it in going second against them because like Despia can chain block, but they're only chain blocking usually once with the what's that card? With Tragedy. So they're either doing it on branded opening or they're doing it with Lubellion. And if they do it with branded opening, you can still stop the Lubellion if they don't like. They shouldn't have any other chain blockers. I don't. No, they can, but like it's not that common. So I think stopping one of those with Gamma and getting rid of the body on the field, which is really important, so they can't like polymerization with it, is really good. And yeah, I think it's really good in mirror. Like in a mirror match, I actually choose to go second because I think the only reason to go first is dim barrier, right? You're trying to just oppress them out of a turn. But there's two things. One, I think dim barrier is not like game over for Swordsoul like it is for like Despia, because Swordsoul can play like a lot of hand traps, and unlike that, Despia tend not to play hand traps. So what usually happens is you hand trap them a lot, so they don't really get to most of their things. They end up with like a really weak board. You do your plays, hopefully 10 plays first, and then they flip dim barrier, and then with the 10 you make, with the two 10 and the monk up top, you make, with the two 10 at the bottom, you make shaman, and then you basically grind them down with monk and shaman.
Yeah.
And hand traps. So dim barrier is not like the end all, and also like in the past, going second in a mirror match is just so much better, because you have the 10s, you have one extra card, and you in the past you didn't have this guy. It's now slightly better in the mirror to go first because you have this guy and this stops like some of the 10s, but I don't think it's enough, and it draws your card, but I don't think it's enough to say that it's better to go first in the mirror. Like, for example, if I'm in a mirror and I let them go first in game 2 or 3, they might have Dark Ruler, they might have like more droplets or lightning storms, or just like going second cards in general. So even if they didn't side out engine for those cards are dead for their whole turn, their whole first turn, and then my turn as well. So, and I get an extra card. I think that's way more beneficial than potentially drawing one of your 3 dim barriers. And like you're over relying on drawing one of those dim barriers, and if you don't, then they have go second cards, and they have one extra card, so they're at a more advantageous, like, and their core is just way better at going second anyway. Like, I'd rather let them go first, they have some dead cards, and then I have go second cards as well, so like it's usually like a blowout.
Okay.
This goes in first against like a lot of things, like Despia, dragons, like any sort of deck that runs the adventure package. I think 3 is like everyone pretty much plays 3 at the moment. And finally 2 dim barriers. So I didn't really have space for 3, and because I was going second a lot in the mirror match, I didn't really need them for anything. There are some like odd matchups you want them in versus like Virtual World or something like that, but other than that, I think like 5 going first against Despia was enough because I was playing 40. And with like desires and things like that, I mean, it's not that difficult to see one of them going first. Like if you're playing against Despia, like I would have liked to have like Red Reboot as well in here somewhere, but I couldn't find a space. If I had the space as well, like I'd have Reboot and maybe a third one of those, but I don't think it's like overly important to have a third.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. And that is everything.
Cool. Just in terms of siding patterns, what sort of stuff were you taking out to
Oh,
fit in?
so yeah, that's a good question, because like that's one of the reasons I might go up to 41 or 42 again, because it makes it so much easier to side out. So you really can't side out that much engine. I think the maximum cards you can side out is like 7 if you're going second against some things like that you want both Gamma and like Twin Twisters for. But like going second, you can side out this, you can side out this. Sometimes you can side out this. Going second, you tend to side out this against like quite a few matchups. Going first, you can side out like Imperms. You don't side out Chalice because they kind of have token collector.
Yeah.
And it's obviously matchup dependent, but going first, you can side out like just this card as well. You don't really want to side out that much more engine than that because you're gonna break more often.
Yeah.
But yeah, you try to side out. You try to side in like 3 to 7 cards, in this deck.
Okay.
Like any more than 9, it's just too much.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Cool. Any other comments from the day?
I'm gonna get first next time.
Show us the trophy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like that semi-finalist part.
Just block that bit out.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks very much for coming on and showing
You're
us the
very,
list.
very welcome. Take care.
And see you in the next one.